Welcome back, everyone. So, getting right into it, if you watched my video the other day, I was doing the charting and I said we had some slight resistance at around 22 cent. And I believe that's what's happening right now. We have longs actually this time taking profit. The beautiful thing is that we had all of that struggling going on with around the 18 cent mark. So 18 should be stronger. That 18 support level should be stronger than Twisted Steel and Superman. But we'll see how it goes out. But if you look here on the short liquidations, we're outnumbering the short liquidations 5-1, right? So we have 6.7 compared to the 1.1 just on these exchanges here of liquidations for Dogecoin. So they're certainly taking profit right now. And this is typically what they do. They're not looking for huge swings. They are looking typically for like 20-30% runs. So that's why we're getting this. It's not necessarily a sell-off. The people who are holding the coin aren't selling off, but the longs, as far as for like options and stuff like that, they're taking profit. So they'll re-enter probably around 18. That's typically what they do. That's kind of how I gauge that we're going to have this run up, because they were piling in 18 and sub 18 so they can position themselves for this run up here. So that'll kind of get you an idea. Shorts are not coming in, at least not on, liquidations aren't coming in, obviously, because they haven't piled in greatly. We'll take a look at the short chart, but they are on the sideline right now. Some short repositioning taking place, but nothing significant compared to the overall liquidation rate here. Now, a good thing is, a very interesting thing is, you'll also notice that the long position, the people that are going in the longs compared to taking shorts, are increasing again. And this is what I mean. This is the swapping that goes on. You'll have on the price run, you'll have the people that are bullish on the coin. It goes up, they take profit, re-enter. Goes up, they take profit, re-enter. They're doing this swap that's going on. And you can see evidence of this right here on the 5-minute. We have it leading. The long to short ratio is almost at 2.71, 73% long, 26% short. 30-minute, 2.74, 73% long, 26% short. 1 hour, 2.7, 73% long, 27% short. 4 hour, 72% long, 27% short. And on a day, 68% long and 31% short. So we're seeing this swap here, technically of around 70% to 30%, and that the overall tone of the coin and that the market is pricing in that Doge is still going to go higher. So this is, you kind of have to get an idea of like what's going on behind the candles. And that's typically what I like to look for. Is it the retail selling off? Is it is this the institutional pull down with evidence of like BTC doing that? Or is it the people that are playing options selling off? And this time it's the people that are playing options. So you can certainly get information to kind of see what's going on behind the scenes. Open interest. So yeah, with the options selling off, remember this doesn't include futures yet. So this is strictly options on open interest. It's down around 200 billion to 1.6 billion. So as we see this positioning down 7% on the day, we will get an idea of the overall trend. Now, see, this is another thing that you can kind of get an idea of when people are saying, oh, where's the top? And we'll talk about this in a separate video, but you'll see like a very strong bend here, and you'll start doing some retracement as going down as far as some people no longer becoming bullish on the long term. And you'll see kind of like a flip between longs and shorts, and you'll kind of get like an idea of what the price that the market is pricing in. And you can kind of see that before the candles react. So that's a beautiful thing here, that what it kind of comes with charting open interest. So because sometimes the open interest, the candles of options is just it gives you the option literally to execute or buy these positions, but you don't have to. That's the beautiful thing. So it can kind of give you an idea of what happens before it actually affects the price action. So that's the benefit of kind of tracking that. So let's take a look here at the charts. And matter of fact, I want to go to coin market cap here so you can get a broader idea of how Doge is performing compared to the other top 10. So what we're looking at, Doge is number 8, around 20 cent. The 24 hour, so you can understand this is why the sell-off is here. So the other day, Bitcoin was down and Doge was up. And so now Bitcoin is up and now Doge is down. So they're doing like this swap thing. But I like that. The Doge is doing its own thing and it's having its because I know Bitcoin has the capability of affecting everything institutionally, but I do like when Doge has its own catalyst and is able to, not just play follow the leader. So Doge here in the top 10 is just definitely having its take profit on the 24-hour. It's down the most at 7.47%. So the other day it was up the highest. And so now it's down the most because of the profit. So that's absolutely okay here. We are still like 5 billion above Cardano. So we're not at risk of going to number 9. And even right now, the 24-hour Cardano is still down. We are well above Avalanche, so definitely not at risk of falling out of the top 10. And we have, let's see, who's doing better in the 7-day. Well, ironically, even with this, even with this sell-off today, no one is still outperforming Doge in the 7-day. Doge is still the top performer in the 7-day. So that's we definitely still had a good week despite this here. So for those of you who are looking to get in, let me go back to. I want to go to the charts here. I know some people were asking, and what I'm hoping happens, which I'm sure is most likely to happen, is going to be that the 18 cent mark is going to act as support because that's where a lot of contracts were issued. That's where a lot of people were able to average in. So typically that's going to be like a mutual respect point to enter, exit Dogecoin. So that should hold up relatively strong for us. Is around this mark here, if we go there. Because if you think about it, we can still dip down to around the mid 19s, low 19s, 1930 mark, and still not break this current trend. Because we've been, even if I move this a little tighter here, this is a very aggressive trend. And when you start looking at a trend that's moving at this angle, it's hard to maintain that anyway. Typically, you'd want something to go up and have some sideways action. But either way, we've had, what's this? 3 green days on this, 3 red days on this trend, and 7 green days. So we're still running roughly around 70% green day. So if the Pendista candle is still live, so we're not going to count it as red yet, even though it more than likely will be. We are looking for some type of agreement here on where the liquidity is going to come from. Where after this footing, when the options stop taking profit, when the long stop taking profit, we're going to say, okay, well, where's that liquidity going to come from? Now, could it go down to the high 18s or so? Maybe, but we'll see here because absolutely we've had some resistance here at around 20. So kind of like how we have, if we zoom out and we look at some of the previous trends, kind of how we had issues here, like a few bumps at around 22 cent. We also, before we broke out, we had a few bumps at around the 20 cent marker. So just like we can have some light resistance here at the 22, we can have some light support at the 20. So, and that certainly is a couple cents before the 18 mark. So I think 18 ultimately will hold if we have that. If enough of them consider taking profit, because remember the longs outnumber the shorts 3-1. So if enough of them consider taking profit, then I can certainly give those of you who were asking an opportunity at around the 18 cent mark. Again, going to 15, going to 10, going to 8, and all that kind of stuff that I'm seeing in the comments. I never want to say it's impossible. I'll just say it's unlikely, right? I won't say it's impossible because I don't know. Bitcoin could sell off due its pre-halving sell-off, which it has done historically. So we could have one of those flash crashes. And if you're fortunate enough to catch it, because right now, because I'll say the same thing I said at 15, right? Doge is going to seek equilibrium or fair market value. Now, if something happens in the macro and you're able to catch it below what is the market has established for fair market value at that time, you can gain profit relatively quickly. And this is what happened here at around the 15 cent mark, where we had the whale dump and the BTC sell off. So we had two catalysts here to kind of pull it down. But then you see this immediate candle to get back to 15. And we haven't even touched it since. So if something like that happens where there's a Bitcoin pre-having sell-off, or a whale says, you know what, I'm going to take profit at 20 cent. My average is, I don't know, 0.000 or 5 cent, whatever. I'm going to take profit now, re-enter, and just kind of skim some off the top. And we're able to break below, like right now, our current major support here on the charts is around 18 cent. And we were able to get below that. That is what you would consider an absolute opportunity, because what happens is, after that's over, after the whale dumps, after the Bitcoin sell off, after the longs take profit, whatever it is, you're going to see some candle action like this because it races back to equilibrium. And so that's kind of like the fastest way to kind of catch those, if you can, because typically, like here, you're talking about something that lasts less than 24 hours. So for the people that's like, oh my God, will it go lower? It's not, I'm not telling, again, not financial advice. I'm just telling you based off of experience and looking at these charts all day. It's something you have to be relatively quick at. It's kind of like when Doge would have those short breaks where it would go to 6 and it bounced between 6 to 8 for the entire bear market. And a couple times you could catch it below 6 cent, but then it bounced. But like if you weren't ready, you missed it. And that's typically kind of what happens here. So for those of you who are trying to get some, or if you have large orders that you're trying to put in where it makes a huge difference in it going up a penny or two, then and you're trying to catch it at 18 or below it, hey, you got to have some alerts set on or something, because it typically moves relatively quickly. So I guess that's the lesson for the day, right? For Bitcoin here, not much price action, because what we're looking at here, and another thing too you want to point out, because a lot of times people were asking about the historic pre-halving sell-off, and is that likely for Bitcoin? It is. It's certainly probable. And if you take a look here, these are weak candles here. This is indecisiveness. This is not bears running it. This isn't bulls running it. This is weak candles here. So typically, we're going to get a decision here relatively soon of which direction this market's going to go. So this is not a bullish trend, and it's not bearish. It's a weak trend. So, and one of these here, and when something's weak, it always goes down to grab liquidity. You don't get strength from weakness, right? You have to find strength, and then you go to a rally. So this here is a weak trend here. So if this continues, we're going to see a reach for liquidity. And, we have some at around 67. Do I think we'll get a big sell-off to around 61? Unlikely, but we can certainly get some resistance there. I mean, it's not resistance, support from there if we have that big sell-off. But typically, if you're looking at historics and saying that, okay, well, there's just a likely of a pre-halving sell-off before the big run. If we did come down here, that would be the last time you would see this number prior to the bull run ending. And same thing with, if you go back to look at Doge, historically speaking, like those 12 cent numbers, there's 12 cent, 10 cent, all those numbers, like those, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but based off of history, you don't see those numbers again, either ever or until the bull run is over. So you can look at these numbers here and you're saying, I want to make some quick, whether you're trying to trade it or you're trying to get some last minute revenue in there for, where you're going to take profit at peak bull run. Consider these things here. This is an absolute bull run. This isn't the swing that you were looking at over the last few years in the bear market where it goes up a few cents and then it comes back down. This here is the market where it goes up a few cents, it comes back down, grabs liquidity, and then it goes to a new zone, right? So this is kind of like right here, right? We went up, did a retest, came back down, went to a new zone, got it went to a new, actually blew through this zone completely. Needed some liquidity, came down, grabbed some liquidity, went to a new zone. So this is the pattern here going forward. So if you're able to catch that liquidity grab, again, like I said earlier, more power to you. But just understand that the zone that we're in opens up 26 to 30. I'm going to zoom out here, so just bear with me. So this zone, too much zoom. Okay, this zone where we're at right now opens up, even if you're using the half from the Fib, 26 to 30. That's where this zone opens up. So whether or not we grab liquidity ultimately is irrelevant until we hit peak bull run. But just know that this zone here, that big candle we got when we broke through, you can expect that type of price action in this zone. So hope that makes sense. Hope you found value in the video. If you did find value in the video, please help us get to 100,000 subs before Bitcoin gets to $100,000. I think that'd be really cool, and we can make history in the same year that Doge does. So I think that'll be really awesome for the channel going forward. I appreciate all of you. And if you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section. I'll get to as many of them as possible, and I will see you guys in the next video.